Let's go to Janelle in Phoenix. What's up, Janelle?
Hello.
How's it going?
It's going fairly well.
Awesome. How can I help? What's up?
Well, I'm calling because I've got an interesting dynamic occurring that I could use a little bit of help and insight with.
Awesome.
I went through a very difficult divorce about 5 years ago. I had been married for 15 years. And the last 3 years of that marriage was pretty difficult with emotional and just verbal abuse. But when I finally made the decision and had the strength to leave that marriage, I was completely at peace. I had no animosity or bitterness towards him whatsoever. I just wanted better for myself. And I knew that I had done everything, that I could do to make our marriage work. I left no stone unturned. At the end of the day, I just didn't have a willing participant in that marriage with me. I had prepared myself and planned for the fact that he would never completely be out of my life due to the fact that we share 2 children together. But what I could not have anticipated or prepared myself for was how he would continue to be a part of my life through the close associations that he maintains with many of my close family members, siblings.
Gosh, are you kidding me?
I wish I was.
Why?
Well, I don't. It's really complicated. There's just so much to it.
Can I be honest? It's usually not. I mean, usually there's a lot of like spinning things and firecrackers and money. Is it money? Does he have a lot of money?
He does. Yes. Yeah.
So
it was. I do not. We split. It was a very inequitable divorce. It drug on over 2 years, and I finally just had to kind of throw up my hands and walk away because the peace that I left the marriage with was leaving me. And I was really starting to have bitterness and hatred towards the father of my children. And I just did not want to feel that way about him.
Okay, can I stop you right there? Let's go back to, you hear me say this a lot, but in an effort to choose reality, let's frame this in the right way, okay?
Okay.
You sold your stake in the financial claim for peace.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay. 5 years later, 3 years later, you can be annoyed at yourself or frustrated that you made that trade, but I wouldn't call it inequitable. It's one that you made.
Okay.
The second thing is hatred is strong, but if the father of your kids is a scumbag, the father of your kids is a scumbag. And if he's going to try to take the mother of his kids to the cleaners in order to leave her with nothing, that's not a person I want to be around. I've got some friends who've been through divorce that treated each other with such dignity and respect. I laugh at them and said, man, where was that when y'all were married, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Trying to burn down the mother of your kids is one of the least noble things I can think of.
Mm-hmm.
And so if he's a scumbag, he's a scumbag. Often I hear women who've been divorced, they struggle with saying that somebody's a scumbag because they think it reflects back on you. Why did I have a family with this guy? Why did I stick around so long? Why did I choose this person? Do you have anything like that?
No, and I don't disagree that he in my eyes, he is a scumbag. And I think that's why it's so difficult for me to make peace with the relationships that he continues to have with my family members.
Have you told your family members explicitly, this makes me uncomfortable?
Yeah, I've told them that it feels very dismissive of the pain and that he's caused to me and the abuse that I experienced at his hands. Because he's very financially generous with them.
Oh, that makes it worse, man. That means they like the ride. They like the ride.
And I know. And so if I had my dream, I would wave my magic wand. They would say, you know what, that's very generous of you to offer to me, but I can't in good conscience accept that gift from you, knowing how ungenerous you have been. Is that a word? Did I just make words? How the lack of generosity that you have, you failed to be generous or fulfill your obligations to your former spouse and therefore your children.
Oh,
And I
Janelle,
can't.
Janelle, how many times have you played that fantasy out in your mind?
Maybe 3 or 4 times. I don't know.
Yeah, right. 3 or 4,000. Okay, I just feel this sense. I'm going to be super honest with you. What I'm going to say is going to be really hard. Is that cool?
Yep.
Your family has chosen him over you.
Hmm.
And I hate that for you.
I do too.
This isn't about him, and this isn't about your family. This is about you. Listening to this conversation, the person I'm most mad at, the person that I'm having the most difficulty with is your family, not him.
Hmm.
I don't get mad at a rattlesnake for being a rattlesnake. I walk away. I don't interact with rattlesnakes. But dude, this is your family.
And they've been my best friends, and that's where
But
I'm
they
struggling
haven't.
because
They haven't.
Yeah.
Let me tell you what best friends. This is how one of my closest friends in the world is named John, and his wife is named Jennifer, and she's ride or die. She called me one time on my phone. This is years ago. She said, I just met so-and-so who says they know you. Here's what she followed up with. Are we friends with her or not? And I said, yes. And she goes, cool. She was saying, we ride or die. Are we letting somebody else in this little group? Because if not, cool. I'm moving on with my life.
Mm-hmm.
That's how best friends roll. Best friends don't see what you're going to give them. And then as soon as you turn your back, turn to the person who hurt their child, their sister, their brother, and say, hey, can you make my life a little shinier? Nah, man, you got parsed out for 20 pieces of silver, dude, and it breaks my heart for you.
Yeah. Mine too. That's like as if divorce isn't hard enough, and just grieving all of that comes with that. And then to feel like it's just forever altered the dynamics of my relationships with my sister, my best friend, because 2 of her children are employed by my ex. Another one of her children is going through a lot of health. She and her husband are going through a lot of health challenges, and my ex has made several donations to them to help them, which, and on the other hand, Dr. John, I'm so grateful, right? Because he's helping my nieces and my nephews and getting them out of some sticky situations. But it's just so gross, and it feels calculated by him too, as another way to kind of control and manipulate and rub in my face.
What if you completely unplugged from him? And this is me completely changing tracks. Let me say this. I'm completely changing what I said earlier. Okay. So the story, as it goes, I feel like your family has chosen him. He's got money, he's got resources, and they've gone that way.
Mm-hmm.
But what if you just went to 30,000 feet and he can make all the calculations he wants, but you're not even in the math class anymore. And he can donate money and help people with their medical bills. Good on him. But I'm not going to give him another second. And it might feel gross to you, but your friend's getting her cancer treatment or whatever. So good on them. And when you show up, if he happens to be invited to a thing, I'm going to go. And your friends could know if you choose to invite him over, you're choosing for me to not be here. And that's fair. I'll just go. But I think the soul tax you're expending on this dude is killing you, right?
Yes, it is. And that's what I want to give him less emotional real estate, and mental real estate in my life and in my brain. And I just don't know how to, but at the same time, my normal confidants I feel like I'm losing them.
You are.
Yeah.
And the fact that you haven't forgiven him yet is drowning you, not him.
Yeah, I know.
You got to let him go, man.
I know.
You're still mad about what happened, huh?
Well, yeah, and I think I'm so frustrated because I can't even explain how at peace I was when we finally separated. I just couldn't imagine all the muck he would drag me through in the divorce. And when I left, I'd stayed home with our boys for 10 years, and I had collected 2 paychecks from my new job when I moved out and moved in with my parents. And I'm still there 5 years later with my parents. Meanwhile, he's bought another business and he's purchased $1 million home. And I know that it's not healthy for me to dwell on those things.
Janelle, this is jealousy. Let it go.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's poisoning you.
Mm-hmm.
And you've heard that a million times, but you're drinking poison, hoping he dies. And then there's something to be said for applauding the fact that your kids are going to be able to go to college because their dad's a millionaire. But 5 years later, you're at your parents' house because you still are choosing to be at your parents' house. True or false?
I'm priced out of the market. I could not afford to. I just went back to school, finished my degree, second degree, and I'm currently working towards being able to afford moving out.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. The jealousy
it's been a long 5 years.
and the frustration and the poison are not worth it. He's still running your life, and he's not even there.
Well, he is. He shows up at family events, but yes, he's there more than just that too, and that's what I'm wanting to let go. But it feels like I've got to let go of relationships in my family too, which is hard and another thing to be bitter about, right? And I don't want to be. It's just that's where I am, but I want to be free of that.
Whenever somebody hurts us, whenever somebody violates our relationship, bitterness feels like we've regained some sort of control over them. Bitterness feels good sometimes. We don't talk about that enough, but being pissed off feels good.
Mm-hmm.
And the only problem with it is it doesn't work. It doesn't change them or alter them. Most of the time, they don't even know. It just destroys us.
Mm-hmm.
So you've heard me say this 1,000 times, and I'll probably end up saying it 1,000 times more. I would love for you to go to a local Home Depot and pick up a couple of cinder blocks and put some duct tape on them or put some masking tape on them and write down in the black marker on that masking tape, this man abused me and he hurt me and he dragged me through the mud. And he wasn't just this man. He was your best friend. He was your husband. He's the dad of your kids. You had plans with this guy. He was your life. And I want you to carry that cinder block around until it gets so heavy, your hands are exhausted, your shoulders are exhausted. And then I want you to go to the backyard in your parents' house and throw that sucker down and let it sit. But consciously say, I'm no longer carrying him. And then I want you to tear off that piece of tape and wad it up and throw it away and mark that day as the day I decided to stop carrying him. And then over the next couple of months, when something pops up, that thought, that anger, that frustration, that jealousy, you can say to yourself, not carrying that anymore. And your body will have a moment. It'll have stuck a flag in the ground. It says, this is the day that I quit carrying this. And this is the day I decided to start building something new. You haven't started building something new. You're still just sitting in the ash of what was. So pissed.
Mm-hmm.
Is that fair?
Yeah, it's fair.
And you may have to do that same thing with another cinder block about your sister.
Yeah.
And your best friend. And. Ugh. I'm sorry. And there is a gratitude side to this, that he's a dad that still shows up to kids' stuff. And you got to grit your teeth and smile. And y'all both have to be adults for your kids. You can do that. You can do hard things like that. He can too. What you're going to find is when he realizes he has lost his grasp over you, the dynamic will change. I promise it will change. But until then, you can practice it. And let's make a plan to get our two feet underneath us. Let's make in 8 months, I'm moving out of my parents' house, even if it's into a small apartment. In 12 months, I'm fill in the blank. In 16 months, let's begin to build something new. And not just make snow angels in the ash of what was. Because our lives are so quick and they're so short to just waste them being bitter and angry. Even when, God, I'm so bitter and angry. You're worth so much more, Janelle. So much more. Hang on the line. I'm going to send you a copy of my best-selling book, Own Your Past, Change Your Future. I want you to go through that, and it will give you a roadmap out.